Welcome back to Oktoberfest with the Love Cafe. Today we're making Semmelknödel. Semmelknödel. James, help me out.
Semmelknödel.
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 Today we're making bread balls. James, I struggle with the word, but essentially what are we making today?
So today we're making Semmelknödel, which is a Bavarian dish, so from the south of Germany. Pretty much what they are is bread dumplings. They're a side dish that goes with lots of traditional German food.
Okay, so is there a large distinction between sort of Bavarian food and then food from other provinces?
I guess Bavarian food is what you think of when you think of German food. And there are some regional differences. You'll find that some cities or some states will have like a local traditional dish or whatever. But most of the traditional German food comes from the south, from Bavaria, particularly from the Munich area. Yeah, it's sort of just a hot spot for really traditional German culture.
So Semmelknödel, I imagine, is quite popular in Bavaria. Have you had it before?
I actually haven't had Semmelknödel. I've had other things in Eastern Europe that are pretty similar. Things like pierogi, a similar sort of like potato-based dumpling, but like I've seen it on plenty of menus. And
Right.
yeah,
So it's the blind
definitely
leading the blind, I suppose. That's fine.
yeah, exactly. Like it's not really something that I can help out too much with other than its history, I guess.
Oh, well, thanks for coming back then, Jim. Cheers.
All good. I'll be back when you tackle the Black Forest cake.
All right. Firstly, for our Semmelknödel, we're going to need a baguette or just some bread that, as you can see here, I'm cutting into about 2 centimeter cubes, which 2 nights before you want to make this recipe, you put them on a tray, as you can see here, and let it go stale so that it becomes like croutons until they look like this. We also need 2 eggs, 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup of parsley, depending on how parsley-y you would like them, about 150 mils of milk, and salt and pepper. Now that's just for the Semmelknödels themselves. To serve with it, we're going to need some gravy. So for that, all you need is 20 grams of butter, 20 grams of flour, and roughly 3/4 cup of chicken or beef stock, your preference. As bizarre as it may seem, the first thing that we're going to do for our Semmelknödel is rehydrate our bread. We've spent the last couple of days making it stale. Now we're going to put it in a bowl and rehydrate it with our milk, which has been in the microwave for 30 seconds and is now lukewarm. Meanwhile, we can finally chop some parsley and set that aside. We can give our bread a quick toss to make sure everything's being incorporated. You may need to add more milk depending on the size of your baguette, but in the end we're looking for a really sticky dough. Once you can tell everything's starting to get hydrated, crack in 2 eggs and start squeezing and mixing with your hands. You want it to be a cohesive, sticky mess. This is a sticky dough and that's how it should be. You want some little lumps in there of old bread, but not too many as well. I realise that's a bit vague, but just make sure it's a workable dough into balls, so don't have too many big clumps. It's authentic German weather. Or Melbourne. Bread balls. Bread balls. There's a reason that they're not that famous. Bread balls. Bread balls. I think I'd rather be eating pierogi. Okay, once you have a cohesive mass of sticky dough, you can add in your parsley and mix once again. This is a very bare bones recipe. You can add onion in if you want, and I've seen other recipes with butter. However, this recipe comes straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. It's from a nurse I had named Michael when I was in a hospital. Typically where you find nurses, who he himself is Bavarian. So there you go. If anyone says this is inauthentic, unauthentic, not authentic, tell that to Michael. Rinse off your hands, remember that you had a beer to drink, and add in some salt and pepper. I'd recommend doing that at the same time as the parsley, in that way you have to rinse off your hands just once instead of at the end. While you're at the sink too, grab yourself a jug of water. This is going to be imperative in our ball shaping abilities. The last thing you're going to do while you have clean hands is get out 2 pots, one small, one largish. You're going to put water in this one, ready to boil our balls in. That's right, they're boiled. And then this one's going to be for your gravy. Lovely. So our water's back there coming up to a boil. Now we can shape our balls. With a wet hand, grab roughly a golf ball's worth of Semmelknödel dough, shape it into a ball, put it on a plate. You want to see it up close? Dunk, golf ball, plate, beer. Dunk, golf ball, plate, beer. Dunk, golf ball, plate, beer. In the end, I got 10 Semmelknödels. Our pot's about to boil, so let's head on over to the stove. Our water's boiling and our Semmelknödels are going to take 15 minutes in there, so let's get them in now. For our gravy, first we're going to make a roux. To do that, simply combine 20 grams of melted butter over a low heat and 20 grams of flour. Whisk to combine before adding 3/4 of a cup of stock. I ended up using chicken because there was some open. Some salt and pepper. Let it reduce. After not even a minute, this gravy has reduced. Taste for seasoning and turn the heat off. In testing, I used beef stock and that was brilliant as well. Also, don't stress if you want to use just a packet gravy box or gravy powder. So long as you get gravy on the plate, it's going to be great. Don't forget to keep checking on your Semmelknödels. Keep pushing them under every now and then just to remind them who's boss, but also to cook them.
Die, scum!
Okay, so our time has just gone off, which means our Semmelknödel is ready, and we actually have a special guest in the kitchen that's just decided to join us. Hello, Roxy. She's a bit camera shy, and it's also not very food safe at all, so I'm going to sanitize my hands after patting her. But I just thought I'd let you know that she's here, and she's doing well. Make sure the gravy's still a liquid, and let's attempt some sort of a smear over the plate. Plating is definitely not my strong suit. Wow. Some more on. Get some greenery on. Wow. Let's get another one on top, eh? And we had a fall. Okay, so clearly plating is not something that I'm very good at and I need to work on. But anyway, let's see how it tastes. This is truly unremarkable. Now, since I've never had these and nor has James, the texture is something that I'm estimating at. You may want to go for another 5 minutes boiling, which will soften them up even further, but see how you like them at 15 minutes. And if you're an expert at Semmelknödel, I'd love to hear from you as to what it should look and taste like, and feel like, and treat you like. So that's that, Semmelknödel. But I hear you say, Nathan, I've got all of these bread balls left over, what the heck am I going to do with them? Well, don't you worry, because Recipe Source Michael gave me an answer to that as well. For Michael's next day Semmelknödel recipe, we need our day-old Semmelknödel, 2 eggs, small onion, and some bacon. You may also need some intuition, because I'm trying this for the very first time on camera. But if it works, just copy what I do. The first thing we're doing is dicing up a small onion, so I'm just using half a large one. We're cutting up 2 day-old Semmelknödels, and lastly 3 strips of bacon. Over on the stove, we're heating up a couple tablespoons of oil. I think I might add in some butter there too, because you know what? No, I don't think anyone's ever said, hey, there's too much butter in this. Add our onion, fry it up for a couple of minutes before adding bacon. Now that everything's looking crispy, let's get our Semmelknödel in. You know what? I think we're going to have to go another one more at least. Let's crack in 2 eggs. And I reckon put the lid on. I'm going for a hash style kind of meal with this. If you want to do a scramble, obviously just mix up the eggs and they'll probably be done in a few more seconds. So I guess now we just be patient. Have a frothy. It's been a few minutes with the lid on and our eggies now look like this. Let's serve it up.
That's good.
Is it actually good?
It's so good.
Alright, so inaugural test of the next day Semmelknödel hash. What are your thoughts?
So good. Like, so good.
Just like the milk and Dolta Gudrun, hadn't she said that? There you go, one of the more unique dishes we've done on the Love Cafe, Bavarian Semmelknödel. Serve it up as a side to something else I'm making this month, or maybe just have it as a snack. However you like it, I don't really care. Either way, enjoy. Thanks for coming, and if you're enjoying the content that's coming out, please drop a comment, like, and share with your family and friends. They did the hash.
The monster hash. The monster hash. It was a graveyard smash. The monster hash. They did the hash. They did the hash. They did the monster hash. Ah, ooh. Wow, wow.